Hi, Anne-Marie Rindom. Thank you so much for taking the time out uh, to share some of your story with all of the physiotherapists at the Fourth World Congress of Sport Physiotherapy. So thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for letting me be here.
Of course. So we've got a couple of questions that we want to get to. Let's start out with probably your most recent accomplishment, or maybe not most recent, but maybe one of the most notable accomplishments was winning the gold medal at the Tokyo Olympics last year. After being postponed due to COVID, which I'm sure came with its own challenges for you as well. But let's talk about during the Olympics themselves, you had a major setback leading into the final sail. And it was sort of a rule situation. But yet you still went on and won the gold medal. So can you talk about the importance of your mindset during that time and perhaps also the team around you as well that helped guide you to that gold medal win?
Yeah, so like in sailing, we sail over 6 days, and after day number 4, I was 22 points ahead. And going into that 5th day, where I knew that not only could I win the Olympics, but I can win the Olympics before the last day, which have never happened in history in sailing. And having that pressure going into that Friday, which I call the Black Friday, was just very major, and something that is very hard to practice, because you can practice it at the World Championship or Europeans, which there is also a lot of pressure on, but it's not the same as the Olympics. The Olympics is something special. It's the biggest sports event in the world, and there is only one person in each boat that is selected to go to the Olympics. And so of course I knew that that was my chance, and I never knew if I could get that chance again to be in that position to win the gold medal. So there was obviously a lot of pressure. I think doing that mistake with the rule, it's something, but then to switch it around and sort of like, we were lucky to have one day on Saturday before going into the final race called medal race on Sunday, which is the 10th best sailors who go into that, and it's double points. So it's a very important race. And I lost, so I only had 7 points lead going into that. So obviously, I lost 15 points that day, which were a lot. But we were lucky enough to have that one day Saturday. And I think what made the difference was it was a lot of things actually. But I'm working very close to my mental coach, and I had tried it before 8 months earlier than the Olympics. We had a competition in Poland, the European Championship actually, where exactly the same thing happened. I had like a sort of like a meltdown on the last day because of pressure, and because of the mental game is so, it has to be so strong to be able to perform on the biggest scene. I think we learned a lot from that situation. And then suddenly I was in a similar situation at the Olympics. So small things like my coach, he said, no, you shouldn't go down to have dinner, for example, because we all athletes live together at the Olympics, which is actually also a big challenge, because you face your competitors every single day. He was like, no, I think you should just stay in your room. Where my mental coach was like, you have to go down there and you have to show that you're not beaten. You have to get your chest up and turn it around, because the fact is that you are still 7 points ahead. You're not beaten yet, and you are still having one race. So I think all those small things that we did as a team to sort of like get me back in the right mindset of not that you're not beaten, you still have you still have the chance to get the gold medal with you. That was one of the key moments that we did that day on Saturday. And then obviously all the different things that, looking through all the rules, be prepared that, because I did that major mistake on Friday with 2 yellow flags, and not do that again on Sunday. So be fully confident in your mindset that you know the rules and you know what it takes. And then it's a very strategic game also in sailing, that we that we said, if she's doing this, I'm going to do that. If she's doing this, I'm going to do that. So we lined that up like a strategy for all the scenarios that we can think of to sort of be as much prepared as possible. And once you've done that, it makes you more calm because you know what to do in the different situations. Not said that there's no pressure, but it's a lot of pressure. But I think it's also one of the things you can take with you for the rest of your life, to be able to overcome that pressure and to sort of be in the unpleasant moments, because it is unpleasant. You feel nauseated. You just want to have it. You just want to get it done because it's horrible to be in. It's like having an exam for a week. Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking about team members, part of your team was a physical therapist or a physiotherapist. And since we've got an audience of physiotherapists watching this at the moment, what do you wish, as the professional athlete, the Olympic athlete, that your physical therapist knew or did or said when it comes to their, maybe it's their communication with you or their treatments, or any interaction?
I think my physio that I had at the Olympics in particular, we worked together for a lot of years, and he knew exactly what kind of mindset I'm in, when we are at competitions. But I think it's very important to sort of like have I don't know what it's called in Danish, but if you have like a pretty good idea of what the situation are and what to ask of questions, when we have, when I get treatments after a day like that on Friday, because I think that is a crucial moment, both when it's going good, but also when it's going not so good in your sport. You want to have, it's very important, the communication, I think, and that's why it's so important to know each other really well on the team and have the same values and the same goal that you're working against, and be open-minded that even though you can feel something, it's not always that people will exactly know what's going on in your head. So I think that's very important. But I'm lucky enough to have worked with him for a long time.
And I'm sure that makes a huge difference in having a complete stranger pop in with you before one of the most important races of your career at that point. And you said something that I read and listened to and some of the other interviews you've given about your values and how important they are to you as a competitor and as an athlete. So when you're looking for, let's say, someone to bring into your team, whether that's your physio or sports psychologist, are you sharing those values with them so that everyone's on the same page?
Yes, definitely, 100%, especially when we have to perform. It's very important that everyone is aligned with the same, of course, the same goal, result-wise, but also the type of persons that we want to be on the team. And I'm not always in control of who is around me. That's Team Denmark or our sport director who just sort of decides which person that has to go. I can still have my opinions, but by the end of the day, that I'm not in control of those calls, and that can be frustrated sometimes. And that's why I think it's important when we go on these trips. We travel over 200 days a year, and it's just super important to have a value set that we all work under. So we don't use energy on extra. I don't know how to explain it, but I think to use extra energy on something that frustrates you, or that I have to explain to a new person, this is what I need help with, and this and this and this, like, so it's so smooth, everything, everything is in flow. That's super important when I have to perform at a competition.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Now we're going to switch gears for a second, and we're going to talk about women in sailing. So not just women in sailing at the Olympics, which has only taken place since 1988, which was just a few years before you were born. But I know that you're a big proponent of encouraging more girls and women into competitive sailing. So can you talk about that for a little bit and why that's important to you, and what do you think is being done in the sport of sailing now, and what could be done or should be done to encourage more women into the sport?
Yeah. So it's a very exciting time actually to be a woman in sport at the moment, because a lot of things is happening, and there is different systems to make it happen. So the situation in the sailing world is that there is actually equality in the Olympic sports. So we have equal women and men participating in the Olympics, but there is so much other sort of like ways you can go in sailing. For example, the professional side of sailing, which I've been a part of now for the last year with the Danish LTP team, and it is a very very man-dominating sport, and I think it's the same in most companies. Who do you hire? You hire the people that looks like yourself, and if there is men, of course you hire a man to do the job, and you hire your friends or the closest network. So to be able to break through that wall somehow, because the situation is that women can easily sail big boats as well. We are also good sailors, and if you look at the Danish sailing team for the last 5 years, or actually for the last 10 years, there's been more girls than guys. So it's not about that. It's just about changing the mindset of that. And what SailGP is doing at the moment is that they have a quote system. So they decided there has to be 1 girl last year on the team, and this year there has to be 3 girls on the team. Yeah. So actually I just got a message that the place that I'm sitting, we're closing down in 5 minutes.
We're good.
So.
We're good after this question. So
okay. I can call you back then in 5 minutes.
That's okay.
But yes, so they're having different quote systems, and I think it's a great way to sort of get more women into sport. It is hard, because the situation that I'm in right now is that I go on these trips, and I don't want to have the feeling that I'm there just because I'm a girl. I want to be there because I'm a good sailor, and I'm valuable on the team. I make the team like I do things so the team performs better. That's what I want. I don't want to be just sitting there and not doing anything. So and that is really hard to be in, and that's the situation now with the quote system. But on the other hand, I don't see at the moment any other way to do it differently than this quote system. It forces the teams to have more girls on it, and then maybe in a couple of years it will change, and we sort of catch up to the level that the guys has at the moment. And then I see in 10 years time it will be half and half. Not even in 10 years time, maybe in 5 years time already. So sort of creating the opportunity for women to learn more, so we have more knowledge, more experience. Because right now the thing is that we don't have so much experience in professional sailing, but if we're never gonna get hired into these teams, we're never gonna close that gap towards the guys. So I think it's a good idea, and I think they need to do more of it. What hopefully is going to happen is that there's going to be a women's league, and not because it has to be divided, but for a couple of years to get the experience is good with a women's league, and then maybe in 5 years or 6 years it can be again mixed, as we see in also a lot of other Olympic classes. We see in a lot of other Olympic classes, we see that they're sailing mix. But because it was not a rule from the beginning that it had to be mixed, then people think that it's odd that we need to have 3 girls on the team, for example, now, because it was not that from the beginning. So.
Right. So it's like you kind of have to. You need the experience to be a professional sailor, but if you can't get in to get the experience, and how are you supposed to get in there? So luckily people like you sort of break through the ceiling and can reach down and pull more people up. Yeah. Fabulous.
Exactly.
Fabulous. I think did we hit everything? I feel like we might have hit everything. Like I said, they're going to edit this down to about 2 minutes. So I think we've easily gotten 2 minutes
Got
worth
enough
of sound bites from you. So I understand if you have to run. No. I think this was great. I think we got it. I think the other thing they may look for, and Karen might talk to you about this if she hasn't already, is if you have any video footage of your sailing, that can be licensed out to use in this little clip to, you might have to get like permission from, I don't know who, whoever took the video, or if
of course,
if you have it and you own it, if you can send that along to either Karen, if you've been in communication with her, or she can reach out to you, or you can email it to me because you've got my email. Because what they're going to do is sort of take this video clip of you speaking and show you sailing with your voiceover from the interview.
Of course. Yeah, no problem. I can send you over WeTransfer. I will send you some video.
Perfect.